right. Yo, Isham, how are you doing, man? Nice to see you, dude. Yo, happy Monday. Check this out. Today we're actually going to use Golem Fist, and I'm going to try to make it like somewhat optimal for strength, which is... What's cool about Golem Fist is that you cannot bundle that weapon, but you can put any Ash of War on it. So we're going to be using Barbaric Roar on it instead of using Starfist, and this is going to give us more damage than Starfist, basically. That's the idea. Obviously, though, we need a little bit of Int and Fate, but it shouldn't be a problem. Like, if we look at our damage, like, comparing the two, like, the Starfist do 440, or have 447 AR, while the Golem Fist have 473 AR. So this is a significant difference. So this should be interesting to see what this is all about today. I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory, really. Okay, for the build, we want this. Do we want anything else, though? Maybe this, and maybe multi-hit. Multi-hit with 19 could be useful so that we can Golem Great Bow as well. We don't actually... Like, we could easily do this at 125, but I think we're just gonna go to 150 because this is the flavor now. People seem to be more interested in 150 nowadays. So it is what it is. This weapon needs a lot of stam, does it now? Yeah, everyone's 150 nowadays, absolutely. Still too heavy. How heavy is this thing? 6 unit. That was Starfist. Starfist is much less than that. Yeah, Starfist is 3. Holy shit, this is double the weight of Starfist. Okay, so that's why it's harder to, like, sneak it in a build. This is actually... Okay, there you go. Medium weight. We have it. Because this is actually significant weight. Like, 6 unit is a medium weapon weight. Okay, now... I mean, we have everything we need, so we could technically just crank up... we could just crank up our damage with just some points in strength. Like, right now, we're at 137, right? Like, you could... you know, get the build to like 139, and you don't actually need a lot of points. Like, even the points we put into endurance, like, instead of like putting points in endurance, if you want to make this at 125, like, it's very easy. Like, you just replace like one talisman for like Greatjar Arsenal, and then, you know, you don't need any point, like any of these extra points in endurance, and your build is good to go. So I just want to make that clear. Like, you don't need like 150. Like, I'm pushing it to 150 because this is the level people play at and care about nowadays, but it's not necessary. Like, Like, you see the stats there, like, I'm adding extras everywhere. Like, we're fine at 59 vigor, but, you know, might as well go to 60 if you're gonna level up even more, right? But that's pretty much it. So, now, let's take a look. We're at 502, and if we compare that to Starfist, Starfist is at 474. And obviously, we're going to be Barbaric Roaring it. So we're going to be doing even more damage here. So this should be interesting damage-wise. And I'm on the fence. I'm thinking Bloodboil is probably going to perform well with this. The Bloodboil damage is going to be pretty high. But Exalted Flesh is definitely an option too. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. I'm gonna drink it, but it's alright. We're gonna just clear the inventory a little bit. Like that. We're gonna get some Bloodboil action. Bloodboil is gonna help us do insane damage. Love Golem Fist, so this stream is gonna be great, even though the weapon is barely usable. Why do you say that? I mean, aren't these fists bugged or something? You guys seem to know more about these fists than I do. You know what? Before we go in, like, now that everyone's saying all sort of stuff, like, 912, right, on the running attack. Yeah, okay. Now, the damage is real. I think there are 2 double hits, but that's the thing, we're not going to use the R2 because we're using Barbaric Roar. So the idea is, by using Barbaric Roar, we're sort of like circumventing the main problem with this fist, which is the shit R2. So the shit R2 is usually what limits it. And so, like, normally you'd be comparing this, like, if you look at our AR, our base AR is 502, or is that the axe that does this? Okay, yeah, that's the axe. The axe is 580. I was just curious here. Okay, so yeah, the axe here, just ignore it. Actually, now that I think about it, let me put BHS on that axe. Just for escape purposes. Okay, so going back again, our fist here, 502, we compared that to Starfist. Starfist here, 474. A Starfist with Barbaric Roar goes to 519, which is pretty much what the Golem Fist has, like, without the buff. Like, with the buff, it's 519 versus 549. So there's a 30 AR difference between Starfist and Golem Fist. And just to make this even more interesting, look at that. You cannot bundle Golem Fist. And you can obviously bundle Starfist. So really, in order to take full advantage of these Golem Fists, it makes a lot of sense to remove the R2 that's just, like, worse. You know, like that R2 here does low damage and low poise damage. And doesn't even stun on the range attack. So it's not a very good R2, even though it's cool. Like, we all wanted this attack to be, like, cool and useful, but unfortunately it's not. So what you do is you remove its, like, sort of unique aspect, and you take care of its weaknesses by just Barbaric Roaring it. And so you get all the benefits without, like, the disadvantages, and you basically get, like, better Starfists for this particular setup. So we're basically just scraping a little bit more damage by doing that. All right, let's do this. It suffers from very high stamina consumption. Yeah, you're the second person who says that. You guys seem to know a lot about this. kind of curious, honestly. Like, someone said that earlier. I don't want, like, I want my stem to be like normal. And if I compare that to this, oops, to this here, it does seem higher on the. Is it higher on Golem? Hard to tell, like it's definitely not like a crazy amount. It seems about the same. Yeah, if it's different, it's probably like very close. Like it's not like you know, like back when we played with Bear Claw, like Bear Claw when you have both paws equipped versus like only one. Like only one paw equipped like takes like half the stam of like both paws equipped. And so like it makes way more sense to just like have your Bear Claw like just one-handed basically. This is a cook? You think so? Well, I mean, we're gonna try it out, but on paper everything adds up, right? Like on paper, you basically remove all the disadvantages that this weapon has, and you're basically left with a better Starfist. But I mean, in practice, we're gonna see if there's like any quirks that I'm not aware of. Like you guys seem to think that this weapon has like high stam consumption, that has like bug damage. And I know you're right with the R2. Like I know the R2 does have like some wonky stuff going on, but we're not going to be using the default R2, so technically this shouldn't be an issue, but you know, you never know in this game. It's basically like Starfist, no bleed, but 10% more damage. Yeah, that's the idea. That's the idea, basically. Little less than 10% more damage, I think. Oh, that's a blue there. He's not attacking anything. So close. Should be a good shot, yeah. God damn it. Interesting of the guy to just rush us like that. This is lots of damage. Yeah, this is some serious damage, honestly, without really any drawback. Like, if I'm not using Bloodboil, which I was not there, like, there's not much drawback to having higher damage for this particular setup. The damage already, like, felt pretty high from the get-go. I mean, it is 30 extra AR, right? 30 extra AR. I think we're looking at, like, this does about 6% more damage over Starfist. So 6% more damage, and, you know, we're still, like, spending a few points in... We're spending 4 points into Intelligence and Fate. So technically, just for, you know, just to make things even, let's look at our off damage here, which is 549 versus... Actually, no, let's compare it like that. It's going to be easier. So we got 502. Now compare that to... here is basically 474. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 484 would be what would be the equivalent, because, like, I'm adding 4 points there, right? And these 4 points, I would technically be taking them from 2 points in Int and 2 points in Fate. So, like, I think to make it fair, you should, like, add those 4 points into Strength to compare it properly to Starfist. So we're looking at 484, which we're not going to spend these levels right now, but 484 versus 502. So about 20 AR unbuffed. Still probably 20 AR is significant. The low amount of AR is more significant on multi-hit weapons. It's more significant on small weapons that hit multiple times. So like a setup like that where you're hitting like every attack at least twice, you're basically looking at twice that amount in terms of like useful damage. And as a rule of thumb, like for this sort of AR, usually like 20 AR means like 10 damage. But in that case, because it's hitting twice, you're probably looking at 20 damage, and then you add the buff on top of that. This guy is one of those that picked this spot. The spot is perfect for runaways. Yeah, this is probably one of the worst spot to duel ever ever conceived. But aren't you still hitting weaker than Starfist plus bundle? No, because that's the thing. Like, the idea is, like, you want to compare this setup. Like, this is a Barbaric Roar setup. That's the idea, right? Like, like you said, though, like, the problem between, like, this fist, like, normally, is that you can't bundle it. So the damage is going to be weaker than Starfist because of that. But if you were to use Starfist Barbaric Roar, you're not going to bundle it, and you can still Barbaric Roar this one. So like this, like this is basically the best, like, or the highest damaging, like, Barbaric Roar fist you can have. That's why we're using this one, like, specifically with Barbaric Roar and not like Endure or something like that. And obviously, like, higher physical AR benefits from physical damage buffs, which in this case, like, Barbaric Roar gives a 10% physical. Thanks, Lurker. That's good to know. Yeah, sometimes, like, stamina, how much stamina costs, like, sometimes the weapons are basically same within the same class, but one costs more than the other, so it's interesting that Golem actually like requires more. But like 3 or 4 more stamp per swing is not really all that much, so it shouldn't really be that noticeable. Especially, it shouldn't be noticeable considering that, you know, I usually play at 125. I over leveled to 150 like recently just to, you know, get more action there, and a lot of people play there nowadays. And so like for me, like I don't need that 50 endurance stamina bar, you know what I mean? Like I don't need that. And so having a fist weapon that that takes like 3 or 4 more stamp to you know, to use an attack, it's not really a big deal. I have that sheet as well, Lurker. Like I've looked up some stuff like over time, but it's fine. Well, and down. Wow, 1? Just 1? That's crazy. I mean, the damage is kind of, it's kind of nuts, really. Like, for fist damage, like, this is very high. For something that, you know, like, we're not talking here about fist damage where, like, my setup sacrifices a bunch of things. Like, I'm making, like, really, like, no sacrifice to my defense by using that. Like, I'm not using Bloodboil. Although, I think at this point, we need to use Bloodboil to see the full extent of our damage. Like, at this point, we need to. Guys, the whole like DLSS 5 things, I think I don't mind talking about it like afterward. Can talk about it like after. Alright, let's see. Oh, okay, getting fog walled. Okay, so like the whole like DLSS 5 thing, like I was actually really like when I saw it first on the Nvidia presentation, like the official one. I was actually really impressed by it. Like I didn't have the negative reaction that everyone had, because you know the way I see it, like the problem with everyone is they're always thinking like here and now, and they can't see like really far into the future. And with like DLSS, it was clear like from what they've shown that, you know, the tech was not there yet. But one thing that I was misled to believe though is when I read the like what Nvidia was doing, I was under the impression that this was some sort of tech that was taking into consideration the geometry and the material, where it's really not. It's literally just a filter. So it's like, it's really like, you know, it's funny to say that because like AI tech is like so young. But this is stuff like that we've already seen before. Like there's nothing new in that tech. The only difference is that, you know, Nvidia are making it run at runtime. But technically these filters already like exist, and it's not like anything new or anything impressive. So I think like Nvidia like misled everyone to believe that this tech was like sort of revolutionary. And also, like I've watched a few vid about it. Like a lot of people like just tone down like the contrast and saturation on a lot of these shots, and it removes a lot of the like the crazy like what it looks like studio lighting on faces. Like it makes it a lot better. Like you guys can check up like a YouTuber named Vex. Like he has a video about that, and then he shows like a quote-unquote fixed version of DLSS 5, and it looks much better just by toning down like a few parameters. Which is funny that, you know, you get people that can just tone down fucking contrast and whatever, and then Nvidia can't be bothered to set up the image properly. But That being said, you know, like clearly the tech is not ready. Like they showed it now, which you know, I understood at the start like why they would decide to show it now. It's like, okay, like you made a new technology, like you're excited to show it even if it's not ready. Okay, like I get it. But knowing after that all this it was really like just an AI filter, like I don't really see the point of showing the tech now, especially given that in order for it to run properly, they had to make it run on 2 graphics cards. And let's be honest too, like the fact that they're like making each frame go through like neural processing is a complete waste of resources. And what I mean by resources is like, you know, like there's a reason why this runs on 2 GPU. Like it's a complete like it's basically like doing it's like a game technology done backward. That's what it is. Like it literally is. It's as if like, you know, if I was to make a video game, instead of making the game like in engine and everything, it's like I animated each fucking frame of the game like by hand, like each possibility. Like the amount of work would just be completely ridiculous, and it would be like the backward way to do it. Like if you want like AI tech to be used for a game, like it should not be used like on the end point like what they're doing. It should be used like more like when it comes to asset creation, if you ask me. And with that being said, you know, like asset creation with AI is clearly not there yet compared to real human work, and maybe it will never be there. I don't think so, unfortunately. Like as someone who enjoys 3D sculpting, like I hope that AI will be mostly used to like make low polys of high poly models, and that the sculptors can still make high poly stuff. But you know, anyway, like I digress. Like when it comes to the DLSS thing, like the main issue I think is that Nvidia actually misrepresented, like blatantly misrepresented what DLSS 5 was. And on top of that, like the way they just had the whole thing, like they basically trained the model off of like probably like model pictures and everything, and they also made it sound like the developers could prompt what kind of filter they wanted, and that's not the case at all. Like you're basically limited to the data set that was trained or that was used to train this model by Nvidia. So this is like extremely limiting, backward. Like even if you think this tech has a future, the future for this tech, from what I understand, is clearly not in the current implementation. It's definitely not, because it's a wasteful way to go about it. Even if they optimize it and make it run on like 15090, and you know, like cards in the future are going to be able to run it and whatever, it's still not the right approach if you want to introduce like lifelike AI tech, or lifelike rendering using AI tech. Like this is going to be done like pre-render, like, you know, like you're going to be generating the models that way, not you know, not like changing each frame. Like that's just such a wasteful way to go about it. And the worst part about it is when they talked about how developers have control over the process. That's just complete lie, because since they can't prompt anything, like the filter stays the same, and the only thing really that they can change, like they said color grading, contrast, gamma, like this is just a joke. Like really, like if you've ever worked with like, you know, any software, like it doesn't even need to be game tech, like changing gamma, contrast, and, you know, color grading is like something that every fucking software in the book can already do like very easily. And so like you gain nothing by having the function of color grading, like using a super expensive neural network. Like that shit is just completely backward. It makes no sense. Like color grading is like something that's already like you're able to do that for like no performance cost on basically every engine that were ever designed. Like it's, I don't understand why they even advertised this feature or even mentioned it. I think they're just banking on people not understanding what it does, because like, you know, advertising color grading, contrast, and these actually like super basic functions is it's bad. Like you don't want to do that. And then, you know, when it comes to dev control, well, now that we know that they're really only using the one trained model that they set up for this, and that devs don't really have control over any sort of prompting for the look of the, you know, the neural network generation, then we know the devs don't really have control over anything. The only slider that they have like at their disposal is like the strength of the effect. And given that the effect was not trained on the proper data set, as everyone keeps pointing out, you know, that all the characters like look like they have makeup, which, like, in my opinion, this is probably the case because the AI model was trained on models, right? Like trained on models with studio lighting and makeup and everything. And so like every fucking character in every game looks like, you know, like mannequin people. Like it's like clearly like that's not what you want for like a gritty game, for instance, or really like any sort of game. Like there's not like any game that I can think of where all the characters look like or trying to look like perfect models, like Instagram models or whatever. And I say perfect, I mean clearly not perfect, because, you know, to any standard that's not really human or perfect or even appealing for that matter. But I think that's besides the point. Like I think one thing that I will say is that when that shit came out, I feel like there was this whole like hive mind discussion about like the whole like makeup thing on the characters. And I feel like that sort of stuff is, I think it's off the mark. Like I think this discussion is off the mark. Like I'm more bothered about Nvidia like not actually telling us what the tech does properly and being bothered by the fact that this tech basically does nothing new and is a really poor implementation of it. That's what I'm most bothered about, because ultimately, like, we all know that this sort of stuff is the future, right? Like neural rendering or like any form of like AI enhancement to video games, it's going to happen in some form for sure. It's just that for Nvidia to like mislead people into thinking that this is like revolutionary stuff that actually takes into account geometry and textures, that's false. Like it's just taking image to image. Like it, I don't like that. I don't like that they would mislead people like that, especially, you know, given that this is the sort of tech, like not everyone knows like how this sort of stuff works, like to even like a basic degree. So it's very easy to like mislead people into thinking that they made some revolutionary stuff when they really didn't. Isn't AI already being implemented since DLSS 3 or 2? Yeah, like the transformer model for upscaling, like the latest one. I mean, it's great. Like, you know, people complain about Nvidia and AI, but like DLSS 4 transformer literally looks better than base game image. If you guys don't believe me, like, you know, you can check it out for yourself. Like when you run like a game on DLSS transformer model with the upscaling, it actually looks like better than the base game image. Like it takes some blurriness away, doesn't over sharpen it. Like it genuinely looks better than the base image somehow. So I mean, it is good. Like, you know, it has good potential. It's just that DLSS 5, I think, was misleading, and you know, now that we know how it actually works, it's not. I think it's the backward way to do it. It's like when Google like presented like their generated video game where the AI just hallucinates like a world as you like control like the camera angle and just generates video like as you walk around. Like some boomers will think that, you know, this is like the way forward for video games, but it's just a backward way to go about it. And I think this this DLSS 5 filter is actually the same. Like it's not the right way to approach this. The right way to approach this would be to actually take into account the geometry like they pretended that it did. Okay, we have to be careful because the flip here will stun us. We can resist one, but not two. think for this one, unfortunately, I don't think we can make this like a trading fest. There we go. I was about to say, I think we're just gonna go like punish them with running attacks. Oh, do you give up? I think he thought he was like giving up when he jumped down, and so he was surprised that he survived or something. Yo, Reef, thank you so much for the sub for 33 months. Welcome back, dude. Alright, on gun if you want to. I'll look it up like, I'll look at what you're sending me like after the stream though. Ruin their power fantasy? Yeah. I like the sound for... Like, the sound for this. It has this weird reverb. You know, like, you compare it to Starfist. It's not the same sound. Like, this one hits different. I mean, I don't know if you guys can hear it. I certainly can. So, you know, it's subtle, but it looks like this one has more, like, reverb or something. It's actually very satisfying. That's a good swoosh, yeah. Oh, how many? 3 people? 3 people ganking, it seems. This guy's neon shitnet. Unfortunately. The Phantom has an unplayable connection. That's kind of sad. Like, we could have like a good fight here, but this guy's net is like, you know, the type of net you get on people that like, don't pay their bills. Oh, his net stabilized somehow. Oh, Phantom is still lagging. Stupid fucking candle. It actually queued that too, like, after the falling off. But yeah, their connection is too bad, like... It's like both of the phantoms, like, or the host and whatever the phantom is, like, have very inconsistent net. And we got hit by, like, range attacks with, like, the animation not coming out. Yes, this guy has the rune arc and wears the thing to look like a phantom. It's fitting for the IQ of a shitter, really. I think they might actually be outside. You go over there? Okay, maybe not. Oh, they're in the boss room. Never mind. Let's try to re-invade the same laggy players from last one. At least we'll know what to expect, you know, we'll know that their net is shit. Have a little better idea of the layout and what they're doing. We also got robbed at the start, like, we had like a very good hit on the Phantom and he just was lagging, so he didn't take the hit. Where was that again? Whoops. I think it was underground. Is it over here? I'm forgetting. Guys, what was the grace for the last one? Not Ancestral Wood. I think it's this one. Yeah, it's this one. Seems like they reset. Otherwise, we would be able to invade them right away, so they actually took the time to reset. That's crazy, dude. I mean, they're probably still here, but Like after each invader, dude, they send everyone back so that they get like all their resources back to full. So that they can 3v1 someone again. It's nuts. Like, these people are crazy. That's wild. You know, like back in Dark Souls 3, like the fun for the gankers was mostly like to go on forever, really. Like the fun was like to see how many invaders you could kill like before dying. That was like what gankers were doing. Like here it's not even that. Like just like targeting, like singling out one guy to get like a free win. Like it's so empty. It's so weird, dude. Like I really don't understand like why people are doing that. Like I understand that the Elden Ring player base is like more casual and, you know, to be honest, a little lower IQ than previous Souls, but still it's just very strange behavior to me. Like, even if you don't like Invader, like it's such a terrible way to spend your time. Like, I'd be bored to death doing that. Let's try these guys. Great help from that fandom. You think the weird hate toward invaders is part of a larger like cultural trend toward negativity and hating these days? Maybe you're right. I mean, like I know that the hate toward invaders is like somewhat related to like hating PvP, right? Like there's this trend of like hating on PvP games nowadays, right? And let's be real, like, you know, PvP games like are basically like any board game, like any sports. Like video games are just like one kind of PvP game, but like for as long as I can remember, like quote-unquote PvP games have existed in like human society. Like it's been mostly what games are about. It's usually like PvP. And so like it's very strange that we see like this movement of hatred toward PvP. Very, very strange. I can't really explain why. But like you said, maybe it's part of like a larger thing, and maybe the reason is more like related to like people like being weak and soft-minded. You know, like they're averse to any sort of competitive aspect, because that's what it is, right? Like if you don't like any PvP, that means like you're averse to competition, which, you know, you can't really see how you'd be like that. Like I feel like it almost goes against human nature, or it goes against nature really, because you look at any species, like the will to survive, you're always competing against something. Like fundamentally, I think you need that, like somewhat of a competitive drive. Doesn't need to be in games. You know, you can dislike games, but I feel like there's this aversion toward like anything that's competitive. But you know, if you tell me that you're averse to Souls PvP because you think the Souls PvP is bad, you know, I'll perfectly understand. That's a very valid point. Like, I think everyone understands that, you know, Souls PvP is not definitely not like great PvP. It's definitely an afterthought. I think we can all agree on that. But like very often I see these comments that are just averse to PvP like altogether. Yo, Augustin, thank you so much for the donation, man. Welcome back, dude. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. PvEers are so toxic. They really are, though. Like, PvEers are just so damn selfish and toxic. Like, they don't want people having fun if it's not, like, their way of having fun, right? Like, you know, you're never gonna hear, like, PvPers complain about, like, PvE being in a PvP game, right? Like, I don't think I've ever heard that. It's crazy. But you definitely hear the opposite. You're like, oh, it's taking resources away from my PvE, right? It's their PvE. I don't know, guys. Maybe I'm the one that's wrong. Like, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe you know, maybe it's just because I'm from an older generation. The world is changing, and the world is different. Like, I don't know, guys. But that's how I see it. One thing though, like if I was to try to like rationalize like the hate for PvP, there's another thing that I could actually think of. The whole like always online model, microtransaction, you know, this sort of stuff, no one likes that. No one likes the whole like always online. Like if someone wants to play their PvE, they should be able to do it offline. There's no reason to connect to the internet for that. You know, like the developers don't need to have control over your game, because that's what it is. When it requires an online connection, like they basically get to decide whether your game becomes useless or break it, basically. Which, you know, we've seen that happen already like quite a few times. Like Ubisoft model, yeah, I hate that. Like to me, like the biggest mistake that Ubisoft did was not the microtransaction slop. I think it was the whole always online for their game, like the quote-unquote to prevent piracy. I'm sure you guys have heard the Valve take on this. Like, piracy is not like a affordability problem. It's like a service problem. It's like people will buy your product if they like the service. You know, like they're not gonna go out of their way to pirate it. And I think it's the same thing for Ubisoft games. Like, if Ubisoft had a good name and didn't do any of that shit, like people would be happy to buy their game. In fact, that's exactly what they did prior to Ubisoft becoming shit. Like, Ubisoft was not always shit. Like, back in the days when Ubisoft made the fucking Splinter Cell games, the old Rainbow Six game, like the old Rayman games, like they had like a bunch of franchise, like Prince of Persia. Like, Ubisoft used to have like a bunch of highly regarded franchises, highly successful franchises, and that people were eager to watch Ubisoft at the E3 conference because they knew that they were gonna come out with amazing games like one after the other. But I mean, you know, you tell people that nowadays, they're gonna be like, what? You're crazy. Like, Ubisoft was always shit, because they've been for a while, and, you know, maybe for them it's gonna be true, you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly, on Gun. Like, they changed how they make games. Like, I feel like internally they probably had this thing where, like, they're using like the same template for every fucking game they create. Like, it's like every game Ubisoft makes like is basically made from the same template. That's what it feels like. I say every, obviously I'm generalizing, you know, like clearly like For Honor is super unique compared to everything else that Ubisoft makes and that other games make. So, you know, I have to take what I say with a grain of salt, obviously, but you know, like, you look at the Assassin's Creed, they're literally, like, copy-paste from one another. Like, it's kind of crazy. Or, like, you know, like, all their open-world game, like, they have, like, the same, like, 20 indicators, and, like, same mission structure, quest structure. Like, they basically... That's what I mean with copy-paste. Surprisingly though, activity very slow from here right now. Let's change area. We're gonna try to invade from somewhere else. Let's try here. I think Ubisoft needs like major restructuring and like not just leadership change, but like structural, fundamental like policy change. Like they need to change their company direction. Like they need to overhaul the whole thing. That's what I think. Like they need to make it so that, you know, they need to make it so that the games they make don't have like an always online thing. You know, they don't milk players. They need to build up their reputation. Maybe it would actually be easier to do that if they if they just fucking rebrand the whole studio, like give it a new name. Maybe that's what they should be doing. Isn't that like poise, the yellow thing? I feel like I've gotten caught by this effect so much. I think it was. The latest Prince of Persia is really good, actually. Sadly, it didn't sell at all. That's very interesting that you say that. I think though Solaire, like, I mean, I'm speculating there, like I'm getting into the territory of like just guessing, but I'm sure that the reputation that Ubisoft has nowadays probably made people very reluctant to even like buy Ubisoft games in the first place, right? Even if somehow like they still make good ones here and there. Like it will take a while to repair all the damage that they've done to their own brand, I think. It's also overpriced for its game type. Oh, you see, that's a good point though. Important to mention that. Want to see AAA gaming space implode, to be honest? I saw a chart recently that broke down Steam revenue between like AAA revenue from AAA games versus revenue from indie games, and actually I think it was 58% of their revenue was from indie games, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. Let's do a Bloodboil. I want to see the extent of my damage. Okay, the host is not there. That's good. The host abandoned this guy. Very strange. We did a lot more damage just having Bloodboil. Where is our friend? This host is very elusive. Keeps running everywhere. There he is. Be careful because we can't jump here. It looks like we get baby jump in that water. Definitely makes it harder to kill the host. I love how I can just like do that out of stun. It's so busted. Indie was a term for niche game or very small studios. Actually, that's a very good question because it's important to define like what, you know, like what do we actually mean when we say indie. Technically indie means independent, but like in the context of games, like you said, it's pretty wide. A good point. Because technically, like, Baldur's Gate is indie, right? Because they're independent now, I think. So, you know, it's not exactly what we think about when we think of indie dev, like big games like Baldur's Gate. Look at these two tryhards. I think I need to go under first, but before I do that, let's put this here. Let me change this a little bit. I'm gonna change a few things for my inventory real quick. I'm really falling in love with these frost pots though. Like it's a big deal. Having access to frost pots while you're invading, basically like instant frost, like it's a very good way to open a fight. Oh, they're right under us. Now we have confirmation. I'm here, my minions. Golem Fists are a nice cook. Yeah, I think we're doing good damage out of it. Like it's I think what the appeal of a build like that is that you get some really good damage without really sacrificing defense. But I think I should be using more Bloodboil. We're gonna try to use more Bloodboil here. Because Bloodboil really kicks the damage up a notch. Yeah, the hyper armor on Barbaric Roar is insane, honestly. Like, it's some crazy hyper armor. Bloodboil is like 45%. No, actually, Bloodboil is only 20% physical damage for PvP. And you take 25% more damage. So technically, it's a losing proposition. Like, you take more damage and you only get 20% physical out of it. The big difference, in my opinion, is that unlike the meat, like the cured meat, it lasts a full minute, while the cured meat is only like, I think, 30 seconds. And that's a big difference. When you're fighting, like, above that last 30 seconds or 20 seconds just is not long enough for it to be usable. Like, you have to constantly rebuff. And so, having the buff last a full minute, it definitely makes it so you have time to work. Yeah, we have a new cook. Could be the new title. It's a good one. And the activity is very slow actually right now. Quite surprising. Why Golem? Because, like, technically Golem Fist, like, if you compare the AR between Golem Fist and Starfist, Golem Fist have higher AR than Starfist, but Golem Fist, you cannot bundle them. So, and also the R2 is kind of ass on Golem Fist, so that's why we use Barbaric Roar. So technically, we're using Barbaric Roar Starfist here, but instead of using Starfist, we're basically using Golem Fist as a replacement, because Golem Fist give more damage than Starfist. So technically, specifically for Barbaric Roar, the Golem Fist perform better. Yes, you lose the bleed buildup, but you're never really gonna proc that bleed on a setup like that. So technically, Golem Fist are the optimal fist weapon with Barbaric Roar combination. Like, they do actually more damage than Starfist, and even if you can't bundle them, the fact that you can Barbaric Roar boost it, it makes it the perfect combination for Barbaric Roar. And all things considered, you know, you also have to, like, we accounted for the fact that in order to use Golem Fist, you have to invest 2 points into Fate and 2 points into Intelligence, because those require 11-11. And so you're losing 4 points that you'd put in Strength otherwise. And so if you consider these 4 extra points in Strength on Starfist, Golem Fist gets about 20 extra AR over Starfist. With these points considered. If you don't consider these points, it's about 30 AR difference. So, like, you're looking at, like, Golem Fist doing about 5% more damage than Starfist. So that's your trade-off. 5% more damage for Golem Fist, but you can really only exclusively use them with Barbaric Roar. I think it's a fair trade-off. I think it's worth taking a look at. Obviously, though, like, you know, if you don't already have, like, the stats for the 11-11, you're probably just going to be better off just using Starfist for most people. But, you know, if you can squeak it in, it's a very interesting use case that makes sense. Not sure what they were doing. Yeah, in CS, it's a good point. Like sometimes, like, a weapon like Pada has like no stamina consumption whatsoever, when to balance the weapon a little bit, they would it would really need that, like, to cost more stam. And then on the other hand, like, they actually did that with double spear. You know, double spears have always been like a very stamina hungry setup to like balance the aggression that they can dish, like ever since really the game came out, I think. And so it's very interesting to like notice this and see the inconsistency between setups that have insane aggression. Unfortunately, that all comboed at the end. We did a good job escaping for a moment, but I probably should have backed up further. I think the Bloodboil aromatic cost us for this one. I don't think we really needed that sort of damage there. Like, we took a lot more damage and you could really feel it. You use tier? Yeah, I had my tier. But Bloodboil makes me take 25% extra, and I think you could really feel it in that invasion. Fuck, why did it fucking... we're gonna be cornered here, but we don't really have a choice. Come on, I'm behind this fucking thing. Dumbass game. Out of here. This is a terrible spot. I have like no plays available there. I love how he's hitting me through the stairs. Out of here. Great boat with the rescue, yep. Coined the best invasion weapon for a reason. Yo, Xenos, thank you so much, bro. Thanks a lot, man. Thanks for the dono. It's so hard fighting multiple people with projectiles, guys. Like both of them had like super annoying projectile weapons that are very difficult to deal with. Like you don't really, like if you don't have cover, you don't really have like any possibility of like outplaying. You're constantly like dodging and on the defensive. Oh, no hit there. Oh, maybe jump too. You miss Vow of Silence? It's funny how Vow of Silence was kind of useless in Dark Souls 3 because it didn't last long enough. And I think Vow of Silence, in the state it was in Dark Souls 3, would have been like one of the best spells in the game in Elden Ring. You know, like as the invader, like being able to cast Vow of Silence would change the dynamic of invasions greatly. That's funny. Because the amount of spam that exists in this game is insane. Although what's funny is we talk about Vow of Silence, but like you take a look at fucking the people we just fought. You know, like these guys were basically like only using ashes, yeah, light rollers. The light roller, we just changed, you know, the fist to Pada. Alright, get this over with. Now let's kill the blue. Alright, now let's kill the host, but we're gonna go grab our keys back. Alright, well, good damage testing, I guess. Use the Vow Diana and then murky her to death? That's funny. Yo, Mozzarella, how you doing, man? You missed solo invasions so badly. Yeah, I didn't hate solo invasions either, but you know, solo invasions gave a reason for blues to exist too. it's quite funny that we still have blues. Like if we didn't have blues, we would miss them. But on the other hand, they make no sense in this game in the current setting. Honestly, the best case scenario would be to have, you know, have the player limit be like 5. Have the gankers be 3 people, invaders be 2 people. Allow solo invasions and blues coming in for solo players. And then have a resummoning cooldown when the invader is in the world as well. I'm sure you guys remember the madness that was like resummoning in Dark Souls 3. Like that stuff was basically instant. Was often iffy invading PvEers. Yeah, invading PvEers I was never really a fan of. Like, you know, I'm one of those that I don't particularly enjoy the whole, like, bullying PvEers as the invader. It's just that, you know, a lot of people are joining the Souls genre with Elden Ring, so they're unaware of the type of landscape we had before. And they're unaware of, you know, what most invaders actually enjoy were the hardest gank. It's just that in this game, you can't do anything against those, so they're, like, unplayable, unfortunately. So you don't really, like, as much as to fight someone of your caliber, you know, in a 1v1, like, it's gonna be, like, a good fight in a close fight. If you're fighting people that are not of your caliber, if you're fighting one person that's not of your caliber in a 1v1, you're gonna steamroll them. And you're going to steamroll them even faster in Elden Ring, probably, because there's multiple ways that you can do massive damage. But when it comes to, like, one person fighting one person, that's very different from 2 person fighting 1 person. In Dark Souls 3, if you were fighting, like, 2 bad players, it was much harder to lose that as the better player than it is in Elden Ring. In Elden Ring, if you're fighting 2 bad players, or if you're fighting 2 people of any skill, like, it's gonna be a real challenge, even if they're really bad. And so, like, the challenge as the invader, like, the goalpost has shifted. Like, now it's challenging to kill a few scrubs in this game. And it's basically impossible to kill, you know, multiple people that understand the game a little bit. I say impossible. Obviously, you always have, like, that, you know, that getting lucky, you know, like they do a massive mistake and then they die type deal. Like that can always happen, but like before that, you could generally outplay a group of people with proper patient play. AKA, you know, like you survive, get a teammate, and then you transform the 3v1 into a 3v2, and you guys know the drill. Like, you know, once it's 3v2, then one invader fights one ganker, and his job is to win that 1v1, and then 2 gankers are fighting 1 invader, and the invader that's fighting 2 gankers needs to survive for until the other invader kills their ganker, and now it's a 2v2 and basically 2 1v1s. So the blueprint made sense, the map made sense. That doesn't exist anymore in this game, so you're left in a situation where you have to outplay 3 people in order to win a 3v1. You're not going to be able to find another way around it. And also, let's not forget about the fact that like the game has so many issues when it comes to survivability. Like the amount of spamming that exists in this game, like range spam with perfect tracking, is very, very common. It's very common. It's omnipresent. You see it all the time. It's like a major part of the game, and that makes surviving a lot harder in this game. Like, you could be running away from 3 people running at you. If all 3 of them are using any sort of projectile, doesn't matter how bad they are, you have a very small chance of surviving if all 3 of them are spamming projectiles at you. And so the projectile spamming was not as dangerous in previous Souls game. That's one thing. And then the other thing is your health bar is really, or your defense and your health, your survivability pool, let's call it that. You know, your HP, your defense, it's all really tied to your physic. And your physic only lasts like 3 minutes for the standard setup, which is, you know, like the tier that heals near death, and then the defense. And so like the fact that you really only have 3 minutes to work with against ganks, that's another problem. Because as soon as your tier runs out, you're basically like a nerfed version of yourself. And you're gonna take like one blender and die pretty much instantly. Or like like 3 hits are basically gonna kill you for the most part. That's another issue. Like that takes the consistency of good plays out of the equation, because you can't expect yourself to never get hit in PvP. You can do that in PvE, but not in PvP. So yeah, massive difference between previous Souls games and this one, and I'm not a big fan of when I hear people say that, you know, like invaders are griefing. Like, you know, like I'd much rather fight good players, but problem is it's impossible in this game. Like, in order for a quote-unquote fair fight, you need to be fighting people. Like, if you're outnumbered, for the fight to be somewhat more even, you need to be fighting people that are extremely bad for the fight to like feel a little more even. Because the moment you're fighting anyone that's decent, the invader stands no chance, and it's not fun for anyone. It's not fun for the people. Like, you know, that's why you don't really see as many griefers in this game as you saw in Dark Souls 3. Like, Dark Souls 3 shitters were basically there like every invasion, every stream. Like, it was streams only of shitters, like only the whole stream. Like nowadays it's like some streams you won't even see one. You know, like, and I understand why. It's because it's become so boring to gank in Elden Ring and so easy that even people who are looking to grief are finding this to be completely like pointless. And so I think the invasion dynamic has been destroyed in Elden Ring. It really has been. I think for my main build, when we remake like stats and everything, I think I'm gonna have my physic like just in the inventory like normally. Oh shit, it's these again. I remember this guy. You sure about that? Whoa! Didn't see that guy. Didn't mean to do that. God damn it! Yold! Let's just kill him then. Oh my god. The guy reminds me of Castle. You miss beating shitters? I'd say like I'm a little sad that Elden Ring did not live up to what Dark Souls 3 was PvP wise. But you know, like Dark Souls 3 had its flaws as well. Like I'm not like pretending like Dark Souls 3 would be a better game right now in every way. Like Dark Souls 3 was extremely limiting when we're talking about individual weapons. Like there was not nearly as much variety of gameplay, like from weapon to weapon, combat to combat, as there is with Elden Ring. Like Elden Ring just has like more options for more weapons. More weapons are viable. Yo, Cleve, thank you so much for the resub for 40, bro. Welcome back. Like, you know, the PK Murky was starting to get old in Dark Souls 3. Oh, wave of pissing. This is a terrible place to be fighting. Like, even if these guys are really bad, like, they're sticking so close to each other, there's really nothing we can do right now. Jesus, the damage from the overleveled. Alright, guys. Let's kill this guy. Another dumb thing you hate about Elden Ring is consumables costing FP. Yeah, that's true. Like, it's more limiting than anything, right? Like, you already have, like, a limited number of consumable that you can carry. I don't even like the fact that you can recraft also, like, mid-session. I think that really defeats the point of having, like, a set amount of stuff. Like, if anything, I think crafting should be limited to, like, the side of grace, right? You know, if you were to keep crafting in the game, like, you should be able to craft, like, at some sort of crafting station, you know? Yo, Steve, thanks for the resub for 38 months, man. Don't think crafting makes the game more interesting or the materials. I agree with you, honestly. I think the way I see it is the whole, like, crafting system was a mechanic that was made to fit the RPG and open world theme, whereas the Souls games are not really suited for that sort of stuff. And the gathering of material feels like really fucking bad, and everyone wished you could just buy the material, so might as well scrap the system and just make all the fucking items be purchasable, because the system is really useless when you think about it. Same thing with the whole, like, modification of the armor. Like, at this point, like, just put, like, 2 variation of each armor in the game and like, scrap that system. Like, it's so pointless to be able to remove the cape on the armor. Might as well make another variant. If there was, like, more customization to the armor model, then I could understand the system, but the way it stands right now, it feels like they implemented these things to more to fit the open world thing rather than because they wanted to have these in the game, because they don't really serve any purpose, really. What PvEers don't realize is everything that's broken in PvP is even more broken in PvE. Well, Sword Lance, definitely pretty broken in PvE. Fist weapons, honestly, pretty fucking broken in PvE as well. Trusting Sword, I think Trusting Sword is better in PvP than PvE, though. Projectile spamming, you know, Definitely even better in PvE than PvP too. But something like Lance, though, I'd say Lance is better in PvP than PvE. Lance is probably better against smaller enemies, not necessarily bosses. Oops. He buffed, but I don't think they're here. We got Elden Ring. They're like at a different place. That's unfortunate. At the wrong spawn, and now oh, we're just stuck here, so just like making sure the host is not there. I don't think he is, though. Alright, guys, unfortunately, I wasted my physic here and we got the bad spawn. I thought they were like around the door, but they're not. I drank my physic too early. But what's funny is everyone wish we could buy the materials, right? Like everyone wish we could buy the materials, then then crafting has no point of existing. It's just like buying stuff with extra steps. And also what's crazy is most of the stuff you use for crafting is like unique to like the items you want to create. Like usually the thing with crafting, it's like, okay, like with crafting, like you have wood as a resources. And there's like 50 things you can create with wood. So like you have 50 wood and you need to decide how you allocate your wood. You know, that's why like the crafting mechanics like exist and make sense in games. It's because you have, like as the player, like you have to make the decision, okay, I have this amount of wood, like how do I allocate it? Okay, maybe I want like this small piece here, a big piece there that cost me like 15, and another piece there. And so like with your material, you have a lot of possibilities. In Elden Ring, with the material you get, there's like 1 or 2 items that you can create for each fucking material. Maybe 3 sometimes. It's like each material is unique to the thing you're crafting, so the whole system is pointless. Like there's no like this, like from the player's end, there's no decision making that happens when the player is about to craft something, because they can only craft said thing with the material that they like that it provides. So like you know, like take the bundles, right? Like it takes a string to craft the bundles. You know, like you're not going to use strings on anything else. It's just the bundles. So you know you're going to be using the string for the bundles. That's it. And then when it comes to like crafting like which bundle, well, each bundle is actually going to have its unique fucking item that they're craft with. So like the lightning bundle, it's going to be like this item with the string. And so like you're basically crafting the better bundle with as many as that lightning item as you have. And then if you still have string, well, you're going to go to the next best one. And so there's no decision making that happens. Well, okay, I have like this amount of strings, like I can decide to craft like either I can craft some big pots, like either I can craft like some small pots, either I can craft some bundles, you know, either I can craft some, I don't know, like some consumable. Like you don't have like any decision making that happens related to that. It's all going into your bundles because that's all you can craft with it anyway. The limited sacrament bud, etc. in game basically incentivizes item duping. You're absolutely correct on that. Like, I have not even touched on that, but like we talked about this like multiple times in streams. Like, the issue with item duping is really because the game doesn't provide the players with everything they need. And so like it incentivizes duping. Like, I wish duping was not there altogether, but the real fix for duping is very simple. It's just like once you beat the game, or you know, doesn't matter if it's beating the game or beating new game +7 for that matter, or new game +1, they need to provide players with the ability to buy all that stuff so that they can make their complete setup without having to use external means like that. I really blame the game for this. Like, the game would be way better and no one would be duping or using that stuff, or very little, if the game just had the ability, or gave the player the ability to purchase everything they need once they beat the game. And also, let's be honest, like, the replayability for Elden Ring, it's not that great because it takes forever to go through the game, and most of it is just like running on horseback. Unlike other Souls game where, you know, replayability was kind of much better, I think, because going in legacy dungeons is much more compelling than going through an empty open world. Only you could buy the stuff after doing everything. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I think it's I think everyone would be much happier if the game was like that. And again, like, you don't need to give the player the ability to buy everything before they complete the game. Give that as a reward for beating the game, so that the next playthrough, you know, like, you beat the game for the first time, that was a great experience, you know, experience the game for the first time, that's great, and everything. Then you finish the game, your character is, you know, what it is, but then you have access to all the stuff that's like in the game purchasable. Maybe not like every weapon or whatever, but every material. And so you're like, oh, you know, like, maybe for this playthrough, like, I can go through the game and use all these consumables and have fun with that for my second playthrough. I think that would be a great idea. And then you'd be playing the game mostly for runes, like for the resources of the currency to buy the stuff. Because really, let's be honest, like, runes don't really mean anything after you beat the game. Like, there's really nothing to purchase, like, nothing that's worth it. And so, like, the economy for the game really only makes sense when you're going through the game for the very first time. After that, you never starve for anything, except that you have to grind for it. And your runes and your rune arcs and everything, like, they're basically useless. You had zero interest in replaying Elden Ring for the different endings? Yeah, I'm exactly the same as you, dude. Exactly the same. Just backed up the save to get the achievement. See, like, I think most people fall in your boat as well. Like, I don't think it's something that's far-fetched. I think your experience is probably relatable to most, honestly. How many players in there? 2 players. Gotta be careful, because these spots can hurt us, and they will hurt us, and they do a lot of damage. They might be outside of the troll range, though. He's gonna be taking massive damage. I didn't mean to do a second one. That was meant to be a running R2. There we go. Alright, we good now. We traded that and we did not flinch. The icon on Barbaric Roar is actually crazy. He did a lot of damage, but we did even more damage. All right, Kaiser, have a good night, dude. Thanks for coming by. Really appreciate it. Why does it have eye armor in the first place? Bro, like, we could have, like, so many discussions about so many nitpicks in this game, but I'm really, like, a broken record at this point. Like, every time something like that comes up, we start rambling about the same thing every damn stream. I think I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it this time. At least not for that. But guys, what do you think so far about the Golem Fist, right? I mean, you know, it's not flashy, it's not that special. All it is basically like a more optimal fist specifically for Barbaric Roar. I think that's all it is. Just more optimal fist with Barbaric Roar over Starfist. And it seems to be exactly the same in almost like every way. Like someone said, maybe like 2 or 3 or 4 like extra stam that it costs for attacks, but it's pretty much the same. Reminds you of Dragonbone Fist in DS2? Hell yeah, dude. That's true, like actually Dragonbone Fist in Dark Souls 2 kind of looked a little similar. Maybe we have time. He's not attacking. Poor guys. Feel kind of bad. Like, these sort of invasions, like, this is not what I'm looking for. Like, I don't feel particularly good, like, beating poor guys like that who clearly, like, don't really know anything about what they're doing. They're just, like, going through the game. And then when you do get people that have a clue, then you stand no chance as, as the guy that's alone versus 2 people, so... You're never happy as the invader. Never. It's either too easy or impossible. Okay, invasion bugged here. I need to reset the invasion timer. Let's go back here. Now imagine the struggle of a casual who decides to invade. Yeah, absolutely, dude. That's also like one thing that we talked about a lot, especially in the first year of Elden Ring coming out. Because the thing that happened in the first year is that, you know, with Elden Ring coming out, it's like game was primed for success. You know, it was riding on the massive success of Dark Souls 3, but Elden Ring was going to be even bigger. And Elden Ring was going to reach even more people, and it did. And so we had an influx of all kinds of players from all kinds of games, all types of community, like people that played like Diablo games, you know, Call of Duties, like you name it. Like players from every game genre all came to play and try the FromSoft style game, and Elden Ring was their first one. And Elden Ring had a legit chance because, you know, maybe some of these guys that come from other games, maybe they come from Skyrim and they're not interested in PvP, but I can assure you that some of them come from FPS games and they're willing to give PvP a try, right? Because they like PvP in general. But, you know, these new players, they come in here, they look at the PvP, especially at launch, and they're like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is so bad. And obviously, like, having no experience, you try to invade. you stand no chance against anyone, and it looks like an afterthought. And I mean, it is. And so I think it turned off a lot of new players, the fact that the game was the way it was, especially at launch. He tried PvP and was solo hosting for a stream. Yeah, it's not new player friendly. Like it's a shame really, because you know, we all want more players to be interested in the PvP. Like that's what we want. We want to onboard more players. But as much as like it was not, Elden Ring did not do a good job at that. What was better in previous Souls game to onboard new players was two things, and ultimately it was one thing. It was the player limit. The increase in player limit, what did it do? For a new player who's invading and is not very skilled, well, they were not alone against two or three people. They were going to get help from another invader, and so that other invader, either they're experienced or not, if they're experienced, you know, these two invaders will be working together to take out the PvEers or the gank squad. And so the chances for the new guy succeeding is just much higher. And it makes for a much better and much more balanced experience, really. It's much more fair. And so the experience just there is way better to start with. And, you know, like, you're basically playing a team match. That's what it is. Like, you transform something that's just a lonely solo activity because you're alone against the world versus like a team endeavor. You and your buddy are trying to take out these bad guys. And so that's a great thing. Like team fights is something that people really enjoy. And then there's the second part to that. The player limit also killed what we called fight clubs. Fight clubs were basically like a host will open a session with as many slots open as possible, and then players will enter that fight club and fight each other while the host watches and resummons a constant stream of players. And the reason why we don't have that anymore in this game is because the player limit is so small that you don't have enough players to host a fight club. Back in Dark Souls 3, like a fight club could host like, I think you could have like five red players at a time. Like in this game, I think you can have two. That's it. And so very different in both cases. So yeah, that also, like, as the new player, like you're going into the fight club, like you're watching everyone play that are more experienced than you, and you're picking up tricks because I win that actually, but I mean the health bar is actually pretty even at the end of it, so technically even if I outplayed him we're even on health. And even if he keeps whiffing, I keep punishing him. I don't get anything out of it. Compelling ass gameplay, guys. Actually ate my input there. I have to wait. Nice arena choice, by the way, like, you know, very smart. Outpost is dead. There you go. What's unfortunate also, like, you know, I could go on and on, but a fight like that, like, obviously the guy's not very good that we're fighting. I'm outplaying him, you know. I'm whiff punishing him, but most of the time the whiff punish don't matter because the recovery is so low that all his mistakes are basically not go unpunished, not for lack of spacing, but because the game simply like is very generous for bad plays. Like, it doesn't punish them for it. So every time he whiffs, either his eye primer is still active, so he can do a follow-up, or, you know, he can just roll out of it. And so it makes for some really terrible play be rewarded. Like, the guy played extremely poorly, like, throughout the whole encounter, yet, you know, at the end, like, it was pretty much even health-wise. Yo, Artorius, how you doing, man? And guys, just to be clear, like, I don't blame the people I'm fighting for what's happening. Like, it's just the result of how the game is. Anything, I always blame the dev for that sort of stuff. Moonveil's a problem here. Let's move a little bit. All right. All right. Good old blind spot. Trade Elden Ring for Dark Souls 3 Gank City? Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, you know. It is what it is. Been trying to get back to it, but Invasion's at 180 or rare these days. I think with Tarnished, activity is going to pick back up. Although Tarnished might never happen, actually. We've been waiting for Tarnished for, like, you know, expecting it even for a month now. It's crazy that it's not even out yet. And that Switch 2 must be really fucked up. They're having so much trouble optimizing for it. Like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, how hard is it to optimize for that damn switch? Hey, buddy. That was almost worked. Probably not a good idea for me to do that. You were really turned off by it early? Do you mean like you were really turned off by invasions early? Because if that's the case, like that is as understandable as it can get, really. Like especially at launch. At launch, the PvP was downright terrible. You know, like now it has its problem, but at least there are like some good salvageable aspects to PvP. Like, you know, like there's a lot of variety that can be found in setups, and you know, you can have fun experimenting a little bit with different stuff. And even if stuff might not be like really amazing or that great, it's still viable. Like you can still make most weapons work on the right setup. So there's a little bit of fun that's to be had with the experimentation of builds, I think. Not even close to being competent in PvP. Managed to, chat keeps moving. Managed to get around 300 rune arcs from PvP, but hell, this shit pisses me off. The lack of positive emotions from invading. Yeah. Invasions are just like... The problem is invasions are frustrating when you lose, because it feels like it's not your fault. And they're also frustrating when you win, because you feel like you didn't do anything. So in both cases, you're kind of fucked. That's what it feels like. I see dueling shield. Guess the angle like is misleading. Did FromSoft improve Backstab? From the game launch to now, like they improved it a little bit, but never really fixed it. Like you still have like very low recovery on backstabs. So like when you miss a backstab, you can get backstabbed yourself. And the angle check was always a bad mechanic. Oh, thanks for that. Not what I wanted. Is he light rolling? That's unfortunate, I might die here. Oof. Whoa, ho, ho, ho. Let's not get too careless. Mistake almost cost me big time. Jesus, the range. Okay, there we go. That was sloppy by me. We could have died. Yeah, they did listen to feedback a little bit, honestly. Like, they listened to feedback, but ultimately I think the issue is that because they don't really play the PvP, I don't think they understood like part of the feedback, so it's still not, like, even after all this time, they still have not managed to iron out some of the stuff that was bad. But yeah, they did listen for the most part. I think you have to give credit where credit is due. And ultimately, like, no matter how the game is balanced, like, the real issue has always been the player limit for PvP. The lower player limit, like, introduced pretty much everything that came after that. You know what you mean? You were there back then? Yeah, dude. Man, the game at launch with the one-shot invisible, like, glintstone. Like, you had, like, invisible glintstone that you could have on top of your head that could you one-shot. You had, like, infinite madness laser, stun lock. You had, like, infinite iframes BHS. Like, it was such a shit show, dude. It was so bad. You had one-shot pebble. Without any buffs, just straight up one-shot with a pebble. Oh, man. Yeah, helmet regen by swapping helmet, just HP, infinite HP regen by swapping helmet. Like, that shit was nuts, dude. That shit was nuts. It was so bad at launch. Like, you know, we have to give credit there because it's definitely not as bad now. Like, it was just way too bad at launch compared to what this is right now. Pretty crazy. These guys usually want to do 2v2s though. I'm gonna wait for someone. There you go. Got someone. Let's see what they look like. Oh, that's looking pretty bad. Oh god. Yeah. You know, there's a limit to playing with someone bad. Like this poor guy. This poor guy. Like I wouldn't mind playing with him, but even if I attempt to attack them, he's gonna die like instantly. These guys are too good for someone like that. Like, this guy has no chance whatsoever. It's unfortunate because I want to help someone like that. Alright. Oh, no physic for you? Alright. kind of out damages me though with that that R2. Oh, come on. Yeah, I forgot about that nasty lat. Oh my god, okay. Oh god, Jesus, that's some shit net. That's unfortunate. Yeah, these fights are pretty terrible on that latency. Like, it doesn't actually matter when you outplay. Like, when the guy attacks, he has like twice the range, and then when you hyper armor punish him, like he just rolls it like after without taking damage. It's really terrible. Can't do anything. It's just unplayable latency. Okay, I think that's good. In Duskblood, we're gonna get matched up with people playing on handheld Wi-Fi while sitting on their toilet. Yeah, that's the dream game. Man, that Duskblood, like, I can't wait. I'm so curious. I'm so curious to see how Duskblood is going to turn out. It's like, as much as, you know, we have to give credit to FromSoft because they always make good games at the end of the day, but man, oh man, is Switch 2 a bad platform or what? This shit might like, Duskblood might get cooked by the Switch 2, dude. Switch 2 just such a terrible platform that this might be like the biggest fail FromSoft has ever made. I can't wait to see it. I'm genuinely so curious. Most people are going to play the game docked. Well, I hope so. Dude, I can't wait to see the streams of like people lagging everywhere. I mean, come on now. And also the 30 FPS, guys. Like, Duskblood is like going to be 30 FPS on top of that. This is going to be like a nightmare. Damn it, dude. Can't wait to see it. I'm very curious to see what's gonna happen with it. Yeah, it's a good platform for like you said, like very casual games, or you know, like turn-based games. Like the Pokemon franchise is like the perfect type of game for a system like Switch 2, really, when you think about it. come on, it early hit. That's fucked up. Okay, we might die because of that early hit. Insane player. Oh, come on, dude. Keep it spacing there. Oh, this guy was dead right there, too. I don't have access to Radon, unfortunately, not quick. Otherwise I would have. You're putting too much pressure. Honestly, Knight Rider, I think, like, the only reason people buy, like, a Switch is because, you know, the IPs, like, these people probably care about the Pokemon games, the Mario games, like the Donkey Kong stuff, the Zelda. That's the only reason that's logical. Because, like, every other handheld, like you're saying, is better out there. Like a logical individual would be buying a Steam Deck, you know, instead. See, like, that's the problem. I don't have the stats to... Oh. Are we taking too long for that slot? Also, I'm out of pots, which is very unfortunate. Save them. Insane TS. Can't really do much there. What do I want here? I think I want this. Let's recraft. Alright, so that's not going to be useful anymore. Put that back on. And they're just sitting on the button. You don't want to play. What a bunch of shit players. Jesus Christ. See, like I took too long there for the Radon swap. Unfortunately. Let's test the damage. That's 554 versus this. 580, that's not that big of a difference. I think I'm better off with just Exalted Flesh. Now let's test the damage. We're gonna use this guy real quick as a test dummy, really. Just need to find some warming stones. I'm gonna test the full bragger damage, comparing the two. Oh. Oh, maybe not. Maybe I should have pushed him around, like, you know, and get them toward the bridge and, like, put him somewhere else. Is there a point to use that weapon over Barb's Starfist? Yes, Omega. Technically, if you're making an optimal build, this has more AR on Barbaric Roar. Because this, like, you know, this, you can't bundle Golem Fist, so you're gonna use it like with anything else, you're gonna be doing like either about the same damage or maybe even less, or very close, you know, because you don't have bundles. But because you Barbaric Roar it, you're technically getting more AR out of it. Now these require 11 int and 11 fate, meaning that you're wasting 4 points in order to use them. So if you put these 4 points and put it into strength for the use of the Starfist, let's say, these still come out on top damage-wise. You're looking at a difference of about 20 AR if you consider like these 4 extra points for Starfist. So these still come out on top. So you're looking at maybe like about 5%. You're looking at like these do 5% more damage than Starfists, all things considered. So not significant, but, you know, at least giving it a try today, you know, we get to play with it. I think, you know, without Barbaric Roar, like, the R2 for this is very bad, so... $25 damage each time you deal like 500. Yeah, that's about that. So it's not like, it's not big damage, but because this is a multi-hit weapon, it's not like the worst damage. Like, it's not insignificant. It's damage. I don't think, like, when you say it doesn't sound appealing, if you're thinking of like, I'm not gonna main like this, so I don't really see a point in wasting 4 points into int and fate. I mean, you'd be perfectly right. Like, this is not a weapon that's worth changing your build over, for sure. Especially when, like, Barb Pada is just better anyway. Like, if you're gonna Barbaric Roar something, like, the Pada is just better. Even if it has, like, lower damage. But, you know, just for the sake of this stream, having, like, a dedicated Barb Fist that does the highest damage that we can have, this one is actually the one that, that fits the bill. also you never really see it, so you know, every once in a while it's interesting to nice connection. Interesting to see weapons you don't really play with often. This guy has competitive ladder player connection. God damn it. This is fucking... PvE actually got me killed. Fucking insane, dude. We did not deserve to lose this whatsoever. Like, not even one bit. The PvE just completely robbed us. Like, this is just another, like, run-of-the-mill invasion where you just stomp people and move on, and PvE went in there and just fucked me up. I did not do any bad play. I did not make any mistake. I was just forced to die by the stupid game. And the big issue with PvE is not only did it hit me, but it also, like, stuck me. It made it so that I couldn't get away either. Like, it body blocked me toward the host. To get guaranteed frame trap in his ash. And then from there, it just comboed attacks to get me hit by the other guy on top of that. Prior to that, we had only died once today, and so this is the second death, but I'm gonna be honest, guys, like, this one particularly unhappy about because I did not deserve it, like, one bit. What else is in there? These fights versus these guys are not great, honestly. Like, latency is really fucking bad. Where's the other guy? Oh, he's up top, never mind. Alright. Damage. He's doing a very good job surviving, all things considered. Like, you know, this is a 2v1, like, he's getting ganked here. I don't want to switch to something, like, that's stronger than what I have to chase him down. Like, I also wouldn't mind if he resummons, obviously. That's what's close. It's a BS, but because this game's bad, he gets a BS even though he got outplayed. Well played, teammate. But yeah, that backstab is like perfect example of why Elden Ring backstabs are just plain bad the way they are. Like clearly in this exact moment, the guy gets outplayed, you know, even though it's a, you know, it's a 2v1, like, you know. Like that backstab happens and even in a 1v1 basically. So like, you know, he gets outplayed, he doesn't get punished for getting outplayed, and he gets a guaranteed punish for getting outplayed. This is downright terrible. Alright guys, I'm gonna do a last one because I think, you know, I think we went over this weapon. Like, there's really nothing special about it. It just does what Starfist does, just more limited with more damage. That's really it. A little more damage than Starfist for this particular setup, but that's about it. You know, no surprises for this weapon today. Not anything crazy, just you want to use like Barbaric Roar Fist, this one is a good candidate, but it requires like a dedicated build, so you're probably not going to use it. Okay, multiple people in there. Oh yeah, that dragon. Forgot about that. Oh, mozzarella is here, alright. Mozzarella is here, but where's the host though? Hey, why is only mozzarella there? Oh. Alright, so at least we have mozzarella for last invasion. It'll be fun. This fucking guy hiding in the corner there. Oh my god, it almost worked. A pre-jumping attack. Yo, mozzarella, don't fucking die, dude. DC? Bro is a fucking quick DCer, man. Oh my god. Oh. We are going places, guys. Oh! He went through the wall! He's gone! He went through the wall! Where is he going? Quickly! No! We were probably about to see him, like, walk into the distance. God damn it. Just not fast enough. That's a good one to end this. Good last one. Oh, god damn it, dude. I love it. Alright, guys. That's gonna be it for this weapon. You know, at least we tried it. We got confirmation. You know, not too special, but it works for this purpose if you want to use this weapon. So, yeah. Thank you, everyone, for coming by again. Really appreciate the support. Really appreciate you guys coming in, like, you know, just to chill and chat with me. Really appreciate that. All right, fellas, I'll catch you guys up next time. Take care, everyone. Let's see which Elden Ring streamer we can raid. Steel's playing No Rest for the Wicked. We might actually raid Steel. And then there's Chilling Person that's playing Elden Ring. So either Chilling or Steel. What do you guys want? No Rest for the Wicked or Elden Ring? Elden Ring Invasions or No Rest for the Wicked? I'll let you guys choose. What do you guys want? Chilling? Alright, Elden Ring. Alright, Elden Ring. Alright, guys. Alright, take it easy, guys.